Conquering Mount Scrapmore with Brenda. I'm Brenda, and we're here with another episode of Free Pattern Friday. Yay, it's Free Pattern Friday. I love Free Pattern Fridays. Today we're going to bring you a very quick, simple, traditional block called Turnstile. And it's a really fun, easy one for those beginners. And you can make quilts up with this pattern very quickly. It's a really good scrap buster too, so keep that in mind. But first, let's do our shout out before we get into any of this. Shamrock Quilt Studios is, I'm giving her a shout out today. Now, she did tell me her name once, and I'm getting older and I can't remember her name. I know she told me her first name, but I can't remember it. But yeah, she has some really fun content over on her YouTube channel, so go check her out. Tell her that Brenda from Conquering Mount Scrapmore sent you. And if any of you know her name, her first name, please tell me in the comments below, because I'm kind of embarrassed that I forgot her name. But it is what it is. Also, in the show notes or the description box, you're going to find the Zoom sew dates from now until the end of December. They're going to be so much fun. 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I'm in Alberta, Canada, so we get on there and we just have a blast, right? So I try and talk with everybody who comes and try and find out what you're working on. We take polls, we do all sorts of fun stuff in there. And it's not one where we're just sitting around, showing and telling and all this stuff, but we do other activities in there as well. Now, the Soya brothers, or the Soya, is hosting their annual charity drive out of Las Vegas. Now, the people that have participated in those years before said it was a hoot. So if you guys want to jump on board there, you go to their YouTube channel or their website. Now that's going to be in my show notes below, so you go ask them about the details. But like I say, everybody said it was so much fun, so go check that out. Also, making comments, share, liking, subscribing, hitting that bell so you don't miss comment. That all helps our analytics, and we would love to continue bringing you free fun patterns like Turnstile. We also have a Facebook group, and we have numerous community chats. We do fabric exchanges by country. We do all the other, like sharing pictures, asking questions, all that kind of stuff. But we also have a virtual sewing room hosted by Discord for the Facebook members only. So you have virtually a sew date 24/7 now online. Also, I speak for free to quilting guilds and quilting groups about elements of design, working with scrap fabrics, making charity quilts. And if you want to get a hold of me for a speaking engagement, please contact me either through the Facebook group or you can send me an email. Also, I'm looking for shout outs that you guys are watching. If it's a quilt related YouTube channel, please send me their name. And, just like a link to their channel, because I'm really lousy at looking stuff up, through either like my email or the Facebook group. I'd be happy to give them a shout out. Also, Spring Fling with Strings is well underway, and I guess people are having a lot of fun with it. I'm not sure how many people have figured out what this quilt is going to look like, but I do have a picture of it on the community page on YouTube once the finale rolls out. We're going to do a couple of quilt masks, and then we're going to start putting out Quilt Bingo, which is a skill builder, and it's 3 levels: beginner, intermediate, and expert. So we're all going to have slightly different quilts, and the beginners can try an intermediate block, and the intermediate can try an expert block, and the expert, if they've got like 13 minutes to sew a block, they can, they can work on the beginners. It's fine. Everybody's quilt is going to look different, and yes, we do have a free space. So now, I think that's it. Yes, come on in. Let's get to the sewing of Turnstile. Okay, so here we are, we're doing a turnstile. Now, you can cut your stuff and sew your triangles together, or you can do it like an hourglass block. I chose to sew them like this, right, where they're separate triangles. And we are just going to start just up here. Oh, okay, I'm just going to grab this one, and I'm going to run them like this. Now be careful when you're sewing this. Both of these are biased edges. This is the straight grain edge. And that's the edge you want on the end of the outside of your block. That's the way you need it done. Okay. There. I'll just get the next one. Now I have seen these in all sorts of fun, scrappy designs. Wow. They really really take center stage when you're doing these. Just gorgeous. And last one, oops, last one is just like so. Okay. There we go. Now, there we go. Okay, now I'm going to cut off the dog ear. I only have the one dog ear. And I'm going to press to the dark. That should make it easier for me. Like I say, I only have the one dog ear, right? Because the other one's a flat edge. I'm trimming that dog ear away. And then I'm going to press to the dark on all of the blocks here. Oh, there. It's a very this one is a fun beginner block. And like I say, if you've got an inheritance of scraps and you're not quite sure what to do, this kind of block is perfect. This was the one I would recommend because, you know, you can make this any size, right? And there's, you know, and you can use smaller pieces. You don't have to make a 12.5-inch block. You can make 6.5-inch blocks and still have beautiful, beautiful quilt when you're done. Okay, so here we go. That's that so far. Now let's get this on. Okay, now I'm going to line these up and I'm going to go sew this away. Hang on. I'm going to go sew this way because I don't want this flipping. This seam flipping on me, because that's the important part. You don't want, if you want to press to the dark, you can't have that seam flipping. Here we go. There, oops, okay. You line up this edge, right? That's the edge you're lining up. And everything else should just fall into place. I have so much of this low volume, this kind of a swirly, botanical, quite nice actually. Okay, and yeah, just going to cut off the dog ears and flip it over and then press away from this center point. Right, so that, oh wait, yeah, press away from that center point. There, just like so. And line it up just like that. Okay, next one. You gotta line up the corner, line up the 90-degree corner first. Then everything should fall into place. Hold that seam down so it doesn't wobble. You don't flip your seam then. Oh. There we go. Yeah, flip this over now and finger press. Just away. Yeah. There, just like that. And then match this up. There we go. Everything. All right, and clip your dog ears. There we go, just like that. And now I'm going to run another leader ender through. Hang on, just get some leader. Okay, there's some leader enders. These little white on white triangles are going into a crumb block or a string block. Coming soon, I hope. But Right now, there are just a lot of them. There we go. Now, there. Now, what we're going to do is like that. Just like that. So now we've got this turnstile back. Now, this turnstile can also be placed like this, right? Where you've got the large triangles on the outside or the big triangles on the outside. Neither is wrong. This is one of those blocks where, you know, pick one way of doing it and then just stick with it, because they'll all match up, right? So neither way is wrong. It depends on how you want them to lay. And that's where people get a little confused. I kind of like this layout because I've got the larger pieces of fabric on the outside. Those are straight grain. These are fine too on the outside, right? But I prefer to have all this kind of like, this is all bias in here where I've stitched. So let's put those together just like that. Now these do not nest, of course, because we've pushed away to the outside. Okay, now we're just going to lift this up. Get these two sewn together. It will nest in the middle. So that's kind of nice. I'm not going to worry about the outside edge. There. Now, it's nesting in the middle, so we want to make sure that nests. We'll just get this out of the way since I no longer need it up here. Here, okay. And two more leader enders. Yeah, I know. I use so much less thread because I've adopted a leader ender, right? Like, I mean, I take on leader ender projects. That is something I don't think people understand, but it's really, it's a good way of making a second quilt while you're working on the first one, right? You know. So anyway, let's get this snipped so I can see what I'm doing. Okay. Now I'm pressing this so that I have the least resistance on my seams. Okay, there we go. Move this off. And I'm going to, there. There we go. And another leader ender happens. Oops. Hopefully I'll get to the end of these because, wow, there's a lot of them. There's so many. Yeah, I was making a crazy pineapple pattern. Now, if any of you are familiar with Bonnie Hunter, you know which one I'm talking about. I love doing that one when I'm stressed out, but you know, once you do a round, you've got all these little pieces left over. You have to save a lot of little pieces to make that quilt. Anyways, okay, so on this quilt, we've got our axes. Now, we've got one seam going this way, and one seam's going that way. So when we break this apart, which we can do right like that, we're going to have this seam go this way, and this seam go that way, and then the center lies flat. Isn't that fast, quick, and easy? Okay, let me get this ironed out for you, and then we'll get to our ta-da moment. Okay, so here is Turnstile. This one is so quick and so easy. It would look absolutely stunning, all scrappy, right? So all you need is mediums and low volumes, and you would have yourself be able to do a quilt quite quickly with this. I just love how fast this one comes together. So, and it does lie absolutely flat in the middle too, because we're able to swirl our seams. That's a really important trick to learn how to do. Now you can see I've made, here are the other baby blocks that I made baby quilt blocks, and we're just having a little fun with all of this stuff, and we're hoping that you sew along. And if not, and you just want to make a quilt out of this or just a quilt block, that's fine too. I do hope you give this one a try though. So I hope you have an absolutely amazing week ahead, and your 1/4 inch is just spot on the money. That would be perfect. So you guys stay well and take care until we see each other again. Okay, bye! My husband and I would like to thank you for all of your support and watching our videos and sharing and liking. It has just been, you've put us on such an amazing journey, and we are having so much fun. I hope everything is going so well in your life, and you know, your 1/4 inch is perfect. Everything is working out for you. And we're just so happy to be part of your life, and you having, like I say, you're watching us. I was just so thrilled that you're doing that. So I want to say goodbye, and I want to thank you with all my heart. Okay? Take care. Bye.